Inspiring moment. Millionaire discovers incredible hidden love of cleaning lady for his daughter. Nathan stared at his reflection in the sprawling marble foyer of his Chicago mansion, a man wrapped in luxury, but with a heavy heart. He had everything. The luxury cars parked in the driveway, the designer suits hanging in his closet, and a job atop the corporate ladder. But nothing could mitigate the chasm between him and his rebellious 16-year-old daughter, Lily. She had transformed from his sweet little girl into a whirlwind of anger and skepticism, pushing against the unreal expectations he had set. Each time he caught her rolling her eyes or shutting herself in her room, it felt like a dagger to his heart. As Nathan hustled through his busy days, the only constant around him was Maria, their dedicated cleaning lady. With her warm smile and soft-spoken kindness, she made this mansion feel more like home. But beneath her resilience lay a painful story. She was an immigrant who had traded her dreams of being a painter for the daily grind, working tirelessly to support her daughter, Rosa. Nathan was oblivious, with his world too consumed by meetings and business deals to notice Maria's silent struggles. One afternoon, while dusting the living room, Maria took a risk and shared her buried passion for art with Lily. "Art is everything to me," she said, her eyes sparkling for the first time. But sometimes survival takes precedence over dreams. Intrigued, Lily saw a flicker of depth in Maria, a spark of creativity buried beneath layers of hardship. They began to bond, exchanging laughter and paint-stained stories when Nathan wasn't around. A friendship unexpected and beautiful began to blossom, sending waves of hope through the often muted halls of their home. Weeks later, Nathan attended a local community art fair. He wandered through the stalls, his mind buzzing with numbers, dismissing the creativity around him. Only in passing did he eye a piece of artwork that captivated passers-by. It was an impressionist piece, full of life and heart, but he brushed it aside, convinced it was nothing special. Unbeknownst to him, this was one of Maria's works, a reflection of her soul and struggles. When Lily caught sight of it, the colors spoke to her. They ignited a desire to create that had long been buried beneath the weight of her father's expectations. "Dad, I want to pursue art," she said one evening, her voice a mixture of hope and fear. Nathan's response was dismissive, panic rising in his chest. "You need to focus on academics, Lily. Art won't pay the bills." The crushed look on her face lingered with him, a reminder of the distance growing between them. Their contrasting worlds collided during a charity event Nathan meticulously organized. Maria had volunteered, eager to gain experience for Rosa. The atmosphere thickened with unspoken tension, and misunderstandings erupted. "You don't belong here," Nathan snapped, blind to the bright future Maria envisioned for her daughter. In that heated moment, she stood her ground, tears in her eyes. "I'm here because I believe in dreams, even if it means sacrificing my own," she said, her voice steady yet filled with raw emotion. Silence wrapped around them, and suddenly, the bubble of superiority Nathan had built around himself cracked. He felt it: regret, realization, and a deep-seated yearning to grasp the nuances of love and connection that he had overlooked for far too long. As they parted ways that night, Nathan's mind echoed with questions. If art mattered so much to Lily, how had he been so blind? With a new urgency, he watched Lily gushing over Maria's friendship, two worlds colliding in a way that ignited something within him. What would he do now? Could he bridge the gap that had formed, or would he let his biases continue to dictate his actions? In the quiet aftermath of the evening's altercation, Nathan felt something shifting like a canvas waiting for its first stroke. Would he finally pick up the brush? Nathan couldn't shake the weight of the evening's events as he stood in his office, staring out at the city skyline. The lights twinkled like stars, but unlike those in the sky, they felt distant and cold. He turned away from the window, heart heavy with regret. Images of Lily and Maria floated through his mind, two women yearning for a recognition he'd overlooked. He picked up his phone, hesitating at the thought of texting Lily. What could he say? "I'm sorry." The words seemed inadequate after their heated exchange. Instead of dialing her number, he scrolled through his contacts, searching for Maria. But the tight knot of pride stopped him. After all, he was the one who had pushed the worlds of father and daughter away, and now they had created their own bond. The next day, he followed a spontaneous impulse. After finishing his morning meetings, he found himself outside Maria's apartment building. It was a modest structure. The walls bore scars of time, yet the cheerful flower pots on each balcony told a different story. He took a deep breath, his heart racing at the thought of bridging this gap. Why was this so hard? Maria opened the door, surprise flickering across her face as he stood there, nervously shifting his weight. "Mr. Collins, what brings you here?" she asked, her tone polite but guarded. "I wanted to apologize," he said, the words spilling out before he could second-guess them. "About what happened at the event. I realize I've been acting selfishly, and I'm sorry for how I treated you." Maria's expression softened slightly, but the tension remained. "Thank you. That means a lot. But it's not just about that one night, is it?" He hesitated, feeling exposed. "No, it's not. I've realized I've been so caught up in my world that I neglected my daughter's dreams, and your struggles I want to understand more." As they exchanged words, he learned more about her life, the sacrifices, the relentless work, and most importantly, her unwavering faith in Rosa and art. Each revelation felt like peeling away a piece of his own armor. "I want to support you both," he said, feeling earnestness tugging at his heartstrings. "Maybe I can help Rosa with art supplies. Or we could organize a little exhibition together. To showcase local artists?" His suggestion hung in the air, hopeful and tentative. Maria studied him, her gaze searching. "That would be incredible, Mr. Collins. But would it be for us or for your reputation?" Her question pierced him. He wanted to do it for the right reasons, but could he? The thought of stepping into a new realm terrified him. But wasn't that what he needed? To overcome his fears and the biases that had trapped him for so long? "I want it to be for you both," he finally answered, committing to this new path. "I'll pull some strings to make it happen." Maria nodded, and a flicker of appreciation crossed her face. It sparked something in him. In that moment, he felt a connection form, small but genuine. A week later, Nathan sat on the couch, the evening sun spilling through the windows, casting warm golden hues around the living room. Lily entered, paint splatters on her hands and a sketchbook tucked under her arm. The sight of her, so alive with creativity, filled him with hope. "Dad, you won't believe what I made today," she exclaimed, her face alight with excitement. For the first time, he didn't see art as a distraction from her studies. Instead, he felt an urge to support her passion. "Can I see?" he asked, leaning forward. The moment hung in the air with suspended possibility. But then a flicker of doubt darkened his thoughts. Would this be enough to mend their relationship? Just as he was about to voice his encouragement, there was a knock at the door. What if it was Maria, wanting to discuss the plans for the exhibition? How would Lily react? He felt the tension rise, knowing that this moment could shift everything. Would this evening finally bring his fractured world back together? Nathan's heart thudded in his chest as he rose to answer the door. Each step felt heavier, as if he were scaling a steep hill. He opened the door cautiously, unsure if this would lead to elation or disappointment. To his surprise, it was Maria. Her dark hair cascaded over her shoulder, and her expression combined curiosity with determination. "Hi, Mr. Collins," she said, a bright smile spreading across her face, though there was a hint of uncertainty in her eyes. "I hope I'm not interrupting." "No, not at all," he replied, motioning her inside. "I was just spending some time with Lily." As Maria stepped into the living room, he noticed how the atmosphere shifted. The air seemed charged with potential, like standing at the edge of a precipice. Lily glanced up from her sketchbook, her eyes widening in surprise. "Oh, hi, Maria," she said, rising from the couch. "Are you here to see my new drawing?" Nathan felt a swell of apprehension. Could this be the moment when their worlds collided, when secrets were unveiled and connections deepened? He held his breath, waiting for Maria's response. "I'd love to see it," she said gently, her eyes sparkling with sincerity. "I've heard you're quite the artist." As Lily rushed to show Maria her artwork, Nathan took a deep breath, letting the sound of their laughter fill the room. But doubt still gnawed at him. Was this enough to bridge the chasm he had created between them? He stepped towards them, watching as Lily excitedly pointed out every detail of her drawing, of vibrant landscape painted with blues, greens, and splashes of yellow sunlight. The passion in her voice was infectious, and even Maria couldn't help but smile. But Nathan felt an ache deep in his heart. He wanted to be the father who understood, who encouraged. He wanted to ensure that Lily never doubted his love. "This is amazing, Lily," Maria beamed, her tone genuine, and Nathan felt a flicker of pride swell within him. You've captured so much emotion in this piece. Lily beamed, flushed with happiness. Thanks. I actually painted it after our last talk about art. I felt inspired. Nathan caught a glimpse of the bond forming between them. It was a tether rooted in understanding and mutual respect. But he couldn't shake the feeling that he was still on the outside, observing rather than participating. If we had the exhibition, you could showcase this, Maria suggested, her enthusiasm palpable. The thought struck Nathan. They were building something vibrant, a community based on art. But his voice faltered as he wondered. Was he ready to embrace this change, to step into the light and out of his shadow of regret? Really? That would be amazing. Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement. And in that moment, Nathan felt a surge of hope. He could be part of this. It wouldn't just heal his relationship with Lily. It could intertwine their paths, binding them closer with the threads of creativity. Just as Nathan prepared to speak, voicing his desire to fully support them both, the doorbell rang again. His heart dropped. More surprises? Was this another twisted chance to cement new beginnings, or an unwelcome distraction? As the three of them exchanged confused glances, Nathan steeled himself for whatever awaited behind the door. Could this be the moment when his world truly began to shift, or would it set everything back again? In that fleeting second, he wondered if destiny was at play, teasing them on the brink of revelation. The moment paused, and Nathan turned the handle, knowing deep down that some truths were about to be revealed. As Nathan opened the door, a rush of air slipped past him, carrying an unexpected chill. There stood Mrs. Henderson, the elderly woman who cleaned the halls of their building. Her frail figure was framed by the soft glow of the hallway light. A smile tugged at the corners of her mouth, though it seemed burdened by weariness. "Mr. Collins, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important," she said, her voice steady yet gentle. Nathan's brow furrowed. "Not at all, Mrs. Henderson. Is everything okay?" Her gaze darted past him, taking in the sight of Maria and Lily. "I've come to bring some old sketches of mine. I thought they might inspire Lily." She lifted a weathered portfolio bag, the edges frayed and worn with age. A sudden weight settled in the room. Nathan noticed Maria's curiosity spark anew, and Lily's eyes widened in anticipation. "Old sketches?" Lily echoed, her enthusiasm palpable. "Yes," Mrs. Henderson replied, her expression growing animated. "I used to love drawing. It was my way of escaping into worlds where the colors danced. I've kept them tucked away for years." A mix of excitement and concern washed over Nathan. Was this the right moment for Lily to see unfiltered creativity, and so intimately linked to someone he seldom considered in the context of art? But as his anxiety threatened to drown out the joyous sounds around him, he felt an unexpected warmth swell in his chest. "May I?" Mrs. Henderson asked, and without waiting for a reply, she began to unroll the delicate sketches. Each piece was a portal into a different story, houses nestled in surreal landscapes, forests alive with dancing colors, portraits that exuded emotion. Lily leaned closer, her eyes tracing the lines, while Nathan found himself captivated by the woman before him, not just as the cleaner he had always known, but as an artist. Maria stepped forward as well, her eyebrows raised in admiration. "These are beautiful, Mrs. Henderson. You captured so much life in each one." "They're all lovely," Nathan added, letting a smile escape. He felt something breaking within him, a barrier, still fragile and newly formed, letting light seep through as Mrs. Henderson continued sharing memories tied to each sketch. Something shifted in Nathan. The scene before him, Lily and Maria enraptured, and Mrs. Henderson blooming with pride, unfolded like a tapestry of community woven together by art. A brief flash of realization hit him. Perhaps this moment was not just an intersection of passion and talent, but a chance to embrace the connections that surrounded him. "This is what it's all about, isn't it?" Nathan said quietly, the words slipping from his heart. "Finding solace and inspiration in each other." Mrs. Henderson nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "Art has a way of binding us, showing us that we're never truly alone." Lily, engrossed in the sketches, finally looked up. Her expression was one of wonder mixed with understanding, as if she was beginning to fathom the depth of creativity and connection. Just then, a shadow flickered outside the door, piquing Nathan's interest. As he turned, he caught a glimpse of a tall figure lingering in the hallway, hesitant and yet somehow familiar. "Who is that?" Lily asked, her innocent curiosity instantly breaking the moment's delicate bubble. Nathan's heart raced again. Was it now the time for yet another surprise, pulling on the stitches of their growing bond? Whatever or whoever waited outside felt like the next piece to this unfolding puzzle, and Nathan couldn't shake the feeling that they were moving towards something undeniably transformative. With anticipation thick in the air, Nathan stepped aside to catch a better view of the doorway, unsure of whether the next arrival would be a new beginning or another challenge to overcome. What was it that awaited him, lurking just beyond the threshold? The figure at the doorway stepped into the light, revealing a tall woman with dark hair pulled back in a neat bun. Her eyes were sharp and bright, as if they had seen 100 stories unfold in the shadows of their building. "Excuse me," she said, her voice smooth yet commanding. "I heard there was an art display happening, and I simply had to see it for myself." Nathan's heart skipped. He recognized her as Ms. Rowe, the new gallery curator from downtown. Rumors about her exquisite taste in art had made rounds among the residents. Little did he know that they would cross paths like this. We're just looking at some sketches Mrs. Henderson brought," he managed, even as a thrill of curiosity rippled through him. "Oh, you're fortunate." Ms. Rowe stepped closer, her gaze sweeping over the portfolio. "These sketches are stunning. Could I?" "Absolutely," Mrs. Henderson exclaimed, her earlier weariness replaced by an invigorating spark. "I'd be honored to share them with you." The atmosphere shifted instantaneously. Everyone leaned in. Lily's eyes lit up, not just at the attention, but at the idea of a real art expert admiring her new friend's work. Without hesitation, Nathan stepped back, allowing Ms. Rowe to take the lead. He watched, fascinated, as the curator examined each piece with care. Her fingers grazed the delicate lines, and with every stroke of her hand, Nathan felt the moment crystallizing into something significant. "This piece here," Ms. Rowe said, pausing at a landscape of vibrant trees, "is extraordinary. The way you captured emotion in nature is rare. It tells a story, a journey. May I take a photograph?" Mrs. Henderson glowed with pride. "Of course. I always believed art deserves to be shared." As Ms. Rowe snapped a shot, Nathan caught himself smiling, his earlier anxieties melting away. He was beginning to understand this was more than just about Lily's creativity or the art. It was about connection, about bringing people together. "Mrs. Henderson," Ms. Rowe said, lifting her gaze, "have you considered showcasing your work? You deserve a much larger audience." The room fell silent, the suggestion dangling in the air. Lily's breath caught in her throat, while even Nathan felt a flutter of hope. Could it be possible? Mrs. Henderson, for a brief moment, seemed lost in thought. Then she shook her head slowly. "Oh no, I'm just a cleaner. Who would want to see my sketches?" "Don't sell yourself short," Ms. Rowe pressed, her tone earnest. "Everyone has a story worth telling, and sometimes those stories can change lives." Tears brimmed in Mrs. Henderson's eyes, a mix of disbelief and a dawning realization that her dreams, however distant, might just be within reach. Lily, feeling the weight of the moment, stepped forward. "Mrs. Henderson, you should. Your art is magical just like you." Nathan's heart swelled at Lily's words. It was a beautiful reminder of the young girl's perceptive heart. He squeezed her shoulder, grateful for the connection blooming in this unexpected moment. But just as Mrs. Henderson opened her mouth to speak, a loud knock echoed through the hall, startling everyone. "Who is it now?" Nathan asked, a hint of exasperation slipping through his usual calm as the door creaked open. A man with familiar features stepped in, someone Nathan had never expected to see again. Someone who could change everything. What was he doing here? And what did he want? The air thickened with tension as Nathan's heart raced once more, fearing the choice he would soon have to make. The man stepped into the room, and time seemed to suspend. Nathan's breath caught in his throat as he recognized the visitor. Eric Landon, an old friend turned rival. They had once shared dreams and ambitions, but time had twisted their paths into a bitter competition. Eric's sharp suit and perfectly styled hair only heightened the clash of their past. "Eric," Nathan stammered, struggling to mask his confusion and irritation. "What are you doing here?" Eric scanned the room, his eyes briefly lingering on Ms. Rowe before landing on Mrs. Henderson. It was as if he were searching for something he believed he had lost. "I heard there was an art display," he said smoothly, but the warmth in his voice felt forced. "Art display?" Nathan echoed, irritation bubbling within him. "Yeah, it's just a small gathering. Nothing worth your time." "I disagree," Eric replied, stepping closer to Mrs. Henderson. "Sometimes it's the smaller moments that hold the most beauty." Nathan's heart pounded as he watched the interaction unfold. This was the infamous Eric Landon, a man who had built his empire on charm and shrewd business moves. Yet here he was acting almost human. "Mrs. Henderson," Eric began, his voice softer, "I've heard whispers about your work. They say it's extraordinary. Can I see?" Without waiting for an answer, he leaned in, his gaze hungry for something more profound than business. Nathan noticed the way Eric's eyes brightened as he pulled a landscape sketch from the portfolio. "Wow," he said, genuinely impressed. "This is remarkable. You have such a unique perspective on nature." Nathan couldn't help the surge of protectiveness washing over him. This was about art, yes, but it was also about the delicate threads connecting people in their community. "She's not just showcasing her work, Eric," Nathan asserted, voice steady. "This is about her story." "Of course," Eric replied, his tone a tad defensive as if he felt a challenge in Nathan's words. "Stories are what drive the world forward. But, Mrs. Henderson, imagine what could happen if you took your art to a larger stage. You could connect with much more." Tension filled the air, and Nathan felt the weight of the moment pressing down on them, the shadows of their histories suffocating yet interwoven. He could see the spark in Mrs. Henderson's eyes as she began to consider Eric's suggestion, the allure of possibility curling gently around her heart. "Do you really think so?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper, a tremor of hope dancing in her words. Eric nodded emphatically, his charisma working its magic. "Absolutely. The world deserves to know your story." And with that, an unspoken battle began to unfold. Nathan versus Eric, heart versus ambition. He could feel the gravity of the moment shifting, swirling around as if summoning choices not just for Mrs. Henderson, but for each of them. Just as Mrs. Henderson seemed ready to respond, Lily, with her innocent perspective, chimed in. "But what if she doesn't want to? What if she just wants to keep it special, just for us?" A hush fell over the room as all eyes turned to Lily, her simple yet profound question hanging in the silence. Her words were a gentle balm against the encroaching pressure of ambition. Nathan felt the tension ease slightly, but it still simmered just beneath the surface. He knew decisions weren't just about aspiration, they were about heart too. He turned back to Eric, ready to defend their little sanctuary against whatever shiny dreams he was bringing. Yet what he felt most was a desperate longing to protect Mrs. Henderson's spirit. This moment was pivotal, and Nathan realized not only his own desires were at stake, but the very heart of their community. "Lily's right," he said firmly. "Art is personal. It's about connection, not just fame." Would Mrs. Henderson choose a path that brought light to her art without losing the essence of who she was? And how far would Nathan go to keep their community together against the allure of the outside world? As the silence stretched, Nathan could feel the tension coiling tighter, waiting to be released. What choice lay ahead for Mrs. Henderson, and what impact would it have on all their lives? Mrs. Henderson glanced back and forth between Nathan and Eric, a mix of concern and curiosity flickering across her face. The weight of their differing intentions seemed to wrap around her like a thick fog, suffocating yet unavoidable. "Art is personal," she echoed quietly, her voice barely rising above the whispers of uncertainty. "But what if I really could share it?" Eric stepped closer, his gaze warm yet probing. "Sharing your art doesn't mean losing anything. It enhances your story. It's your gift to the world. Imagine the impact it could have." He glanced at the small crowd gathering around, eager and expectant. "People want to feel something genuine. They'll want to connect through your passion." Nathan wanted to shout. He saw the way Mrs. Henderson's eyes lit up at the thought, but Eric's words felt like shimmering bait dangled over a dark abyss. "You'll get lost in the noise," Nathan interjected, desperation creeping into his tone. "What good is success if it costs you your heart? What if she's ready to share that heart?" Eric countered, unwavering. "You can't hold someone back from their potential." "Potential?" Nathan shot back, frustration bubbling to the surface. "Or is it greed, Eric? Is that what you see when you look at her? The room thickened with tension, the air alive with unspoken questions and worries. Mrs. Henderson stood frozen, the weight of both their expectations crashing down on her, tugging her in different directions. Lily's small voice broke through the noise once again. But if Mrs. Henderson loves what she's doing, why would she need to change it? The innocence in her words disarmed everyone, creating a precious moment of clarity. Mrs. Henderson knelt down to Lily, her eyes softening. In that instant, Nathan observed someone he hadn't seen in a long time. A woman who was not just an artist, but a vibrant soul, capable of dreaming beyond the confines of her own life. You're right, sweet girl. I usually keep my art close, but part of me wonders. Eric was quick to seize the moment, his voice smooth and persuasive. And that's okay. Everyone deserves to be heard. You could inspire so many people, Mrs. Henderson. Nathan felt a knot tighten in his chest. Inspiration doesn't always mean exposure, Eric. Sometimes it means protecting what is sacred. Protecting at the cost of living? Eric shot back, irritation creeping into his voice. Your art deserves a way to breathe. It should fly, not be locked up. Fly, Mrs. Henderson murmured, her gaze drifting to her sketches that fluttered like butterflies in her imagination. In that heartbeat of silence, an unexpected resolve took root in Nathan. He cleared his throat, the atmosphere holding its breath. Then let it fly, but let it fly where it feels safe, where it can nurture not only you, but also those around you. The words hung between them, raw and unfinished. Mrs. Henderson took a deep breath, her eyes suddenly brightening. Maybe it doesn't have to be either or. Maybe I can find a way to share my work without letting go of what it means to me. Hope swelled in Nathan's chest, yet doubt gnawed at him. Would her desire to be recognized overshadow the warmth of her craft? As the moment unfolded, Nathan could see the community they all cherished waiting for her decision. Would Mrs. Henderson choose to step into the glare of unfamiliar lights? Or could she find a way to stay true to her roots while exploring new horizons? Just then, Lily pulled on Nathan's sleeve and whispered, "What if she created something for Eric's gallery, but kept a piece just for us?" Everyone turned to Lily, an unexpected solution offering a spark of light. In that moment, Nathan's heart raced with the possibilities that it was a delicate balance to strike, but the identities of all involved shifted with the swell of hope. Would they find a way to weave a tapestry that honored both dreams and connection? As the silence thickened once more, a new question emerged: who in the room would hold the key to unlocking not just Mrs. Henderson's art, but their shared future? Mrs. Henderson's thoughts swirled in a tempest as she gathered the courage to face the crowd's expectant eyes. The playground of her mind that had been a sanctuary for her art now stretched open, beckoning her to take a leap of faith. Her heart raced not from fear, but from the flutter of possibilities that danced before her. "What if," she began, her voice gaining strength, "what if I create something special for you all, just to share a piece of my heart? A piece that connects to our community?" The young onlookers leaned in, their eager faces reflecting excitement. Nathan felt a sudden surge of warmth spread through him, a flicker of light through the haze of doubt. He exchanged glances with Eric, who nodded in encouragement, his smile wide and infectious. "I love it," Lily chirped, eyes sparkling. "We could hold a little exhibition just for us." Mrs. Henderson smiled at Lily and felt a wave of gratitude. "I can incorporate your thoughts, your energy. It could be a celebration of us, of our shared moments." A spontaneous murmur swept through the group, a hum of burgeoning excitement. Eric chimed in, "Yes. A community art day. You could showcase your work and keep your roots at the forefront. It could even draw in new people who would appreciate your story. But there's still fear," Mrs. Henderson confessed, crossing her arms over her chest as if shielding her heart. "What if it's not enough? What if I end up exposing myself to criticism? What if it changes everything?" As the crowd listened intently, Nathan saw an opportunity. "You know, Mrs. Henderson," he said gently, "every true artist learns to embrace feedback, whether it's good or bad. What matters is how you handle it. It's part of what makes you stronger." A hush fell over the gathering, and the world outside faded into insignificance. Mrs. Henderson looked at Nathan, searching for affirmation in his eyes. He offered an encouraging nod. Slowly, realization dawned on her. "I suppose what I've been afraid of is finding that voice inside me." Her voice trembled slightly, but it held a new resolve. But what if I let this fear teach me, rather than hinder me? A ripple of applause emerged, initiated by Lily. Others soon joined, their clapping a chorus that echoed through the park. Encouraged, Mrs. Henderson felt a new breath. Okay, let us do it. I will create a piece for everyone here. It will be a manifestation of our journey together, our stories woven into a tapestry of colors. Tears welled in Nathan's eyes as he witnessed her transformation. The timid artist began to glow with newfound purpose. Moments earlier, she had felt paralyzed by fear, and now she was ready to leap toward life with her sounds of laughter, her small victories, and even her heartaches. What about the gallery? Eric interjected, his enthusiasm bubbling over. You mustn't forget about it. You could showcase your community piece and various smaller works in my gallery. Just think completing your story on both levels. Mrs. Henderson paused, her expression deepening as she weighed the options. A balance, she whispered, her eyes darting to Nathan, one where I honor both what I love and what I can give. As hope twinkled within the group, Nathan could feel that shimmering thread binding them closer. There was a sense of unity forming, a collective journey about to unfold. But as the excitement reached a crescendo, a shadow loomed just outside their circle. An unfamiliar figure lingered at the edge, watching, waiting. Who were they, and what role would they play in Mrs. Henderson's journey? The air crackled with the tension of an unfolding tale, and Nathan's heart raced with the possibilities yet to come. The unfamiliar figure stepped forward, revealing a tall, imposing man clad in a dark blazer. His presence immediately shifted the atmosphere, like a storm cloud overshadowing a sunny day. "Excuse me," he called, his voice deep and resonant. The crowd fell silent, a blend of curiosity and apprehension rippling through them. "Who are you?" Eric ventured, stepping slightly in front of Mrs. Henderson, a protective gesture instinctive and immediate. "I'm Mr. Baldwin," the man declared, a hint of authority in his tone. "I've heard talk of this community art project of yours, Mrs. Henderson. I'm interested." Mrs. Henderson's heart sank. She had envisioned this as a sacred, personal endeavor, something pure and tied to their neighborhood, not something to be scrutinized by unexpected outsiders. "What do you mean by interested?" she asked, her voice quivering with uncertainty. Mr. Baldwin smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "I run a gallery downtown, one that features emerging artists. I believe your work could add significant value to our collection." He paused, surveying the crowd as if assessing their reaction. "In other words, I'm considering making you an offer." Around her, excitement bubbled again, but it was different this time, threaded with doubt. Nathan exchanged concerned glances with Lily and Eric. Was this the opportunity they had hoped for, or a complication that could shatter Mrs. Henderson's vision? "What about the community aspect?" Nathan blurted out, his voice edged with protectiveness. "Isn't this supposed to be about us? It's about connection and sharing, not just selling art." Mr. Baldwin's brow furrowed. "The two aren't mutually exclusive. You can still promote community while elevating your profile. Imagine exposing your art to a broader audience." Mrs. Henderson felt torn. She thought of the children who had gathered to support her, their excitement etched on their eager faces. "I have a vision. It's based on our hopes and stories, not a commercial venture." "And if you let it be both?" Mr. Baldwin pressed, a glimmer of determination igniting in his eyes. "You could use your voice to reach more people, to inspire more children. Think of the impact you could have." The words hung in the air, heavy and charged with potential. Silence enveloped them as Mrs. Henderson weighed her values against the allure of wider recognition. After all, art was meant to be shared, wasn't it? But at what cost? "Don't let excitement cloud your judgment," Nathan warned gently, feeling the weight of the moment. "Remember why you started this." Mrs. Henderson looked deep inside herself, emotions swirling. Was this the moment that would define her journey? As she struggled to respond, the crowd began to murmur again, a mix of encouragement and concern. "I just want to make sure this means something," she finally whispered, her voice trembling. "For all of us." Mr. Baldwin stepped closer. "I can help you amplify that meaning. Let us not forget your stories deserve to be told far and wide." Through the chaos, Nathan saw the flickering doubt in Mrs. Henderson's eyes. He sensed that this moment could either elevate her craft to new heights or drown it in commercialism. The air grew tense, laden with anticipation. Would Mrs. Henderson take the plunge into the uncertain waters Mr. Baldwin was offering? Or would she stay true to her vision and the community that rallied behind her? And just as he was about to speak again, a familiar face emerged from the crowd, the irreplaceable Miss Clara, her wise eyes shimmering with unspoken words. The question echoed in Nathan's mind. What wisdom would she share in this pivotal moment? As Miss Clara stepped forward, Nathan felt an unexpected calm wash over him. There was an aura about her, a presence that brought clarity amid the swirling, excited chaos. Mrs. Henderson, Clara began, her voice warm yet steady. Art is a beautiful bridge, yes, but it's also a mirror. It reflects who we are and what we hold dear. Ask yourself not just what others want to see, but what you feel in your heart. What does your art mean to you? Mrs. Henderson's eyes glistened. It's as if Clara's words peeled back the layers of uncertainty. The room fell into a hush, every person present fixated on the quiet strength exuding from the older woman. What do you wish to say? Clara continued. That is your true power. In that moment, Nathan watched the struggle in Mrs. Henderson's eyes as they danced between potential and authenticity. I want to share joy and hurt, she finally admitted, her voice trembling. To tell stories that resonate with the people I know, to create a sense of belonging. For us, Lily chimed in, her youthful spirit radiating hope. To remind us all we aren't alone. With that assurance, Mrs. Henderson's expression transformed, blooming from uncertainty to resolution. I want to honor that connection above all else. My art is not just a product. It's an extension of the love we share. The crowd erupted in supportive murmurs, the shifting energy undeniable. Even Eric, standing beside her, couldn't help but nod in agreement, his facade of rivalry melting away. That resonates with the heart, he admitted quietly. Feeling the resolve pulsating in the room, Nathan was inspired. The weight of doubt felt lighter. He watched as each member of their community began to fill with purpose. Then let us do both, Mrs. Henderson, Nathan proposed earnestly. Create something that reflects your journey and showcase it at the gallery. But let us also host our own celebration where your heart doesn't just exist in the spotlight, but finds a home among those who cherish it. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Everyone understood what was unfolding, the melding of dreams and realities, the tangible and the intangible. Mrs. Henderson nodded slowly, her heart full. Yes, let us intertwine them. Their fingerprints united in the creation of a community art day, juxtaposing the raw power of local stories with an opportunity for wider expression. In that moment, Nathan felt a surge of emotions, a mix of pride and love enveloped him. Nourishing the bond he long neglected, as they worked together to build this newfound dream, sharing laughs and stories. A sense of acceptance enveloped the room. Even Eric, who had always appeared as a competitive thorn, began to recognize the real beauty in supporting one another's passions over rivalry. Finally, the art day arrived. A beautiful tapestry assembled from their collective efforts. The park brimmed with laughter, colors bursting on canvases, and families united by rich stories. Mrs. Henderson showcased her work, her heart glimmering with authenticity. There was a booth for Lily's art, vibrant and alive. Even the elderly men and women from the neighborhood chipped in, sharing the art that they had hidden for years. Nathan looked around. He finally felt the warmth filling the hollow space in his chest. His relationship with Lily blossomed anew, illuminated not just by the art, but by understanding and trust. Echoes of laughter accompanied by the vibrant hues painted a picture of joy that had long been missing. The air vibrated with the sounds of encouragement and hope, creating a dizzying harmony of triumph. This is life, Nathan whispered under his breath, feeling a swell of gratitude wash him over. Maria and her daughter Rosa mingled joyfully, weaving stories into every moment as proud participants in this new community. Together, they had reignited the connections lost in fear, finding a place where growth flourished side by side with love and support. In that park filled with expressed emotions, raw art, and new beginnings, he saw reflections of the very heart of his own family once again. They had bridged the gaps, realizing life thrived in the simple, honest connections they shared. As evening shadows began to stretch, the laughter slowly subsided into a comfortable quiet, a moment of peace wrapping them in its warm embrace. Nathan's heart brimmed with joy as he turned to Lily, who now stood beside Maria, sketching something together. "What do you think?" he asked her softly, awash in emotion. "This is amazing, Dad," she said, a radiant smile spreading across her face. "I feel like we're finally together in this." A glimmer of understanding flickered in Nathan's heart. They weren't just together. They were family again, connected through the masterpieces they built together, encircled by love, creativity, and understanding. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the stars began glimmering above, and Nathan realized how brightly they shone when hearts were open and dreams were shared. This was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformation and connection. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm with your support. Your engagement matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice is important, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and be reminded that community and love can heal all wounds.